All right, Shabbat Shalom. I'm going to be working on my commentary again. But first I wanted to just show off. I got my Comic Skate Apparel. Got the t-shirt here. I think it looks a little blue on the screen, but it's like actually gray. This just arrived this week, and I got the all caps hat. The Laughing Man logo on it. They feel great, feel comfortable. So far, so good. So I figured I'd do the stream showing them off. I don't know how long I can wear this hat. It's not that cold out yet. So I know Malin, he likes to wear his all the time on streams. I don't think I'd be able to. It would get too hot for me. So let me do a few housekeeping things first. I'm going to share the link in case anyone wants to stop in. And remove. I got open on another tab. All right, so and I've got to put up my banner. So I'll be working again on the Vayetze Torah portion. Go back to my comments. And share my screen. Bam. Okay. And I thought of some more verses I wanted to add to this since I started working on it. As we're talking about like the street spotted and speckled. Let's see, there was Luke 14. This is the main one. And then we got a couple others here. There's the one about where Jesus rebuked the Pharisees about traditions of men. I think that one could come in handy. That was, sorry, my mouse is there. It's caught. Let me open up Bible Gateway. Another tab. Bring it over quick. See that Mark 7. I got a list here of them. I'll have to look up and see which I'm thinking of. Yeah. Mark 7 and Matthew 15 both talk about it. What do I have so far? I got Luke, Matthew. Maybe I'll use Mark just to get each of the Gospels potentially there. All right. Let's see. When the Pharisees and some of the scribes came together to him, having come from Jerusalem now when they saw some of his disciples eat bread with defiled, that is, with unwashed hands, they found fault. For the Pharisees and all the Jews do not eat unless they wash their hands in a special way, holding the tradition of the elders. They do not eat unless they wash, and there are many other things which they have received in hold, like the washing of cups, pitchers, copper vessels, and couches. And the Pharisees and scribes asked, why do your disciples not walk according to the tradition of the elders, but eat bread with unwashed hands? It's kind of like Jewish, like where Jesus says here. He answered and said to them, well, did Isaiah prophesy of you hypocrites, as is written, this people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. In vain they worship me, teaching as doctrines the commandments of men. For laying aside the commandment of God, you hold the tradition of men. All too well, you reject the commandment of God for your tradition. And then it goes into this one where, like, when people would say that if instead when they give something to their parents, they'd say, well, it's actually a gift to God. And it's all just trying to pure righteous. And it's kind of like a competition thing, trying to pure righteous to others, which would work well with this commentary. So I'm going to put this in, and as usual, there's a good chance it might not stay in here. But I think today I'm going to start trimming down. There I put this one's in. I'll go right up to the part about the honoring your father and mother. I don't think I need to put that one in here. Mm-hmm. Get rid of the extra line insertions. Get rid of the footnote indicators A, B, C, D, and E. Yeah, it's getting pretty warm. This is going to be great when the snow falls, but for now, slide off. You can still see the logo, pretty close. Maybe I'll put back on later. See, since I have it in my title, I'll put verse 1. So we got 1 through 9. Let's try. So this first part, yeah, this kind of gives the backstory about what the Pharisees are doing. And then this part here is is Jesus' reply. This part can be split up again because the text is too small still. So this is let's try splitting up here. Take out verse 5 and 6 there. Yeah, so now it's like I think I can make it a little bigger. 28. But this one, 26. That's pretty good. Okay, there's that verse. Then there's also the verse where Jesus called them whitewashed tombs. Matthew 23, 27, and 28. Matthew 23. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are like whitewashed tombs, which indeed appear beautiful outwardly, but inside are full of dead men's bones and all uncleanness. And so you also outwardly appear righteous to men, but inside you're full of hypocrisy and lawlessness. Yeah, I'm going to put it in here just so I have it handy. Whitewashed tombs. Of course, you got to put the book and chapter. And then another one I thought was I had this in another commentary, and I forget what it was. Or I forget which commentary, but it was when Samuel. It was in Samuel where when before picking King David, they lined everyone up, and God said, or was it Samuel who said, God does not look at the outward appearance, not look at outward appearance. I've got DuckDuckGo open over here where you can't see it, but my other screen. So 1 Samuel 16:7. That's another one. Samuel. And then I think I'll have plenty of resources, and then it's just a matter of organizing them from here on out. Yeah, 16:7. But the Lord said to Samuel, "Do not look at his appearance or at his physical stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord does not see as man sees. For man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." So God does care about the heart. but that it is obedient, like we said earlier. So let's copy this in here. Make it bigger. Not quite that big. Let's see. No, this is, I know it's talking about Saul, but I always like to double check just to be sure. Now the Lord said to Samuel, how long will you mourn for Saul, seeing I've rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill your horn with oil, go and send me to Jesse, for I have provided him. Samuel said, how can I go? If Saul hears, he will kill me. But the Lord said, take a heifer with you. I invite Jesse to sacrifice. Samuel did what the Lord said. Tremble at his coming. He said, peaceably I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Sanctify yourselves and come with me to sacrifice. Then he consecrated Jesse and his sons and invited them to the sacrifice. So it was when they came that he looked at Eliab and said, surely the Lord's anointed is before him. But the Lord said to him, so do not look at his appearance or his physical stature. Okay, it's not talking about Saul. That's why I always try to double check. I'll just put a note. Actually, I'll put verse 6 in here also to give the context. So Eliab looks at Jesse's son, Eliab. And I wanted to just double check. Look up Eliab in the Bible. Yep. Eliab, son of Jesse. Eliab of Bethlehem of the tribe of Judah was the eldest son of Jesse. 1 Samuel 16:6 and 1 Chronicles 2:13. Yep. That's all I need there. Just double checking the resource. We're sure got that correct. Let's see, how long have I been going? Just 12 minutes. I might have to take a break already. Yeah, so this is 45 slides, and there's no way to get through all. I think what I'll do is I'll time it and see how far I get. Actually, I can do that later. But like at this point, I'm going to start adding in commentary. And I know I'm going to be taking stuff out already. So I think I will. Let me close this out because I'm going to rename it. I'd like to put kind of the topic here. Let's put speckled. And then I'll make a copy. And this will be what I call, I don't want to open it. Yeah, I just want to change the name. Final. This will be so that way I have one where with all the information in case I need it again. Because I said I want to like add something back in. That's what this one is for. The original one that I've been working on. And then the final, this is the one that I'll actually present. And I probably don't need this one open unless I end up later on adding notes to one and then want to delete it. I would then move it over to that one so in case I want to bring it back. I've thought about like installing Git or another. I don't know how well Git would work with PowerPoint. Like Git, it's a revision control tool. And it's great for code, but it might not be as good for like documents and whatnot. But Oh, here we go. This week's Torah portion is Vayetze, or NT left. It's primarily about how Jacob fell in love with Rachel and started working for her father Laban. Laban tricked Jacob into also marrying his other daughter Leah and extending the amount of time Jacob had to work for him. This is my third time presenting this portion. I did a commentary on it as recently as last year. These are the passages I covered. And I don't know if I really want to leave this in. Now that I have it, now I have the information, this slide really isn't helpful to like the viewers. It helped me out, like knowing, because I wanted to try to cover different verses each time, or at least this time, and that won't always be the case, because there might be like the same passage within a full portion that might have a different lesson. And so it's not necessarily important to have this, but I'm going to take this text out and put it here. I'll delete this slide and I'll rewrite this one. This is my third time presenting this portion. Did a commentary on it as recently as last year. They were both about how Laban mistreated Jacob while Jacob was working for him. During that time, they made a deal which I didn't cover much in those commentaries. At this point, Rachel had just given birth to Joseph, and Jacob was ready to leave with his wives and children. I might go into more detail here, or mistreated Jacob while Jacob was working for him. I'll have to keep, let me put this on some line. I'll have to keep this part in mind, because I might come back to it as I'm going through this passage, and I might want to go more detail about how Laban was treating him, and then it'd be good to like present it from the beginning. Well, let's see. Let me put a little something. They're both about how Laban mistreated Jacob while Jacob was working for him, such as lying to Jacob and changing his wages several times. I say time again in the next line, so I don't want that to sound redundant. Okay, so at this point, Rachel had just given birth to Joseph, and Jacob was ready to leave with his wives and children. Genesis 30:25. And it came to pass when Rachel had borne Joseph that Jacob said to Laban, "Send me away that I may go to my own place and to my country. Give me my wives and my children for whom I have served you, and let me go. For you know my service, which I have done for you." And Laban said to him, "Please stay if I have found favor in your eyes. For I have learned by experience that the Lord has blessed me for your sake." Jacob is ready to go. Actually, I might change it back, and so I can, as I'm coming up to it, I can just as I read through the passages and reviewing, I can talk about there. But and this slide might be one of the first to go, because I think it just provides context in this case, and that's probably how I'll do this. So like I'll add my commentary as I'm going through it, and then later on I'll try reading through and timing it out, and then I'll take out the less important parts and try to trim it down. And so at that point, like now that I'm putting notes in this slide, I'll move it to like from this final present PowerPoint to the original one. Jacob is ready to go, but Laban doesn't want him to leave. Because of how God blessed him through Jacob. related to his controlling personality we covered my last Vayetze commentary. I just now realized, typing that in, I think I've pretty rarely actually referred to previous commentaries by name. Actually, I think I will step away for just a minute, but then I'll be right back. It's been a while, so I'm forgetting how to do this. I just want to. Okay, I'm going to try that hat again. I opened the windows, so it's a little cool in here. So, can't forget to share that again. All right, now I think we can go on to the next passage here. Verse 28. Then he said, "Name me your wages, and I will give it." So Jacob said to him, "You know how I have served you, how your livestock has been with me. For what you had before I came was little, and it has increased to a great amount. The Lord has blessed you since my coming, and now when shall I also provide for my own house?" Jacob is pointing out how Laban has been blessed, but he has been blessed through his work. He's been blessed by God through Jacob's. I try to sometimes I get worried that if I'm using pronouns too much, you kind of lose track of who each pronoun is referring to. So point out how Laban has been blessed by God's work through Jacob, but he hasn't seen. Let's see, how should I say this? Now, he'd like to be able to provide for his, and bless his family. Yeah, and like this commentary, what I'm putting here, isn't as much about the overall topic, which is why I'm thinking I'll probably end up deleting them. But for now, I'm just putting in there to help me organize my thoughts as I think about this and pray about it over the following weeks. Present this November 25th, so over a month out yet. So he said, "What shall I give? Shall I give you?" And Jacob said, "You shall not give me anything if you will do this thing for me. I will again feed and keep your flocks. Let me pass through all your flock today, moving from there all the speckled and spotted sheep and all the brown ones among lambs, and the spotted and speckled among the goats, and these shall be my wages." I forgot to highlight those ones. Let me bring up Bible Hub. Just make sure that those are the same Hebrew words as the other ones. And now right away, I know I'm going to take out like a lot of those Hebrew words that I put in like last time I was working on this. Genesis 30, 32. Oh, when I have this hat on, I keep thinking of John Mallon, his theme song, and EVS's streams. Raised by the wolves. Okay, so speckled is, yep, Nakod, and spotted, yep, talu, or wet talu. Well, wet, the Vav here. Oh, hey, Richie Dupe, how's it going? Thanks for checking out the stream. Just working on my next commentary. I'll be presenting at church and then making into a video about Genesis 30, specifically about the deal that Jacob and Laban made. So it actually goes into the next chapter. So, come to learn some theology. Excellent. I can always break away from what I'm doing here. If you got any questions or anything, any particular topics, I could talk about them, and can't guarantee I'll be able to answer any questions, but I could give it a try. Maybe we could even EFAP some other videos I know of. So he said, "What shall I give you?" And Jacob said, "You shall not give me anything if you will do this for me. I will again feed and keep your flocks, and we pass through all your flock today, removing from there speckled and spotted sheep and all the brown ones among the lambs, and the spotted and speckled among the goats." Again, that's where I came up with the name, the speckled and spotted. It's been a long time since I read the Bible. Have you read it all the way through? I'll read like almost every day at my over lunch, and usually I only get about a chapter done. Depends on the length of the chapter. Sometimes I can get 2 in, or I might have to spread it out over. Well, no. Yeah, it can be intimidating the idea of reading through the whole Bible. What I did is like I was at a church where they always where they talk about you should read the whole Bible in a year, and I'm not at that pace anymore. Just got so busy with the kids and work and stuff. But I think it's kind of like I think of it like exercise. Like you can't just go out and run a marathon right away your first day of running. You have to like go a shorter distance and a shorter pace, and you have to keep building up on it. So what I did when I started is I read like chapter of Genesis, like Genesis 1, kind of like what I'm doing with the chapters I'm reading now. And then I like Genesis 1, so the first chapter, the first book of the Old Testament, and then Matthew 1, first chapter of the first book of the New Testament. And then every day, and then I just start with that, and then every day I read the next chapter in each testament. So I was only doing two chapters a day. But then what I did is when I finished the New Testament, I started over again. And like what I do is I email myself like what I was reading for the next day. And I still do. It's like, so Genesis 1, Matthew 1, Genesis 2, Matthew 2, and so on. And so it's not as intimidating when you're just doing one or two chapters. Like most of my Bible reading videos are only like about 3 minutes long. So it's when you think about it as just being like a 3-minute thing, then that feels a lot easier to handle. But so then once I got through the New Testament, I started over again. So then I'd be on like the Old Testament chapter and then Matthew 1 again. But then I also started like Genesis 1 again. So I had 2 readings going through the Old Testament 1. So I was doing 3 a day, and I kept kind of adding like that. But see, I was thinking about reading a chapter a day in my free time. Yeah, that'd be a great way to start out. I highly recommend it. Yes, let's see. Speckled and so I'm trying to think of. Yeah, I think I'll just leave speckled and spotted for now. Yeah, it's amazing. Like reading through it again, like the stuff I have forgotten from before, and then but after you'll retain a lot more after you've read through it several times, and still, but like there was a period. My last job wasn't nearly as busy as my current one. I got up to I think it was 9 chapters a day. Like I would make a change in code and then I'd run it, and it would take a long time to compile and run. So then I had time to do some Bible reading. So like several times a day. And then I was like, back then I was able to retain a lot more of it. Now I'm down, just like the one or 2 chapters. And so I don't remember. And so like I'll have a harder time remembering, like if I'm trying to remember parts of it. But yeah. So I gotta think of how can I transition this slide into this one. Okay. Should do. Yes. Yep, like with anything, the more time you spend on it, the easier it gets. And like with exercise, going back to that analogy, it's tough to get started, but then once you're in the routine, then it becomes enjoyable. Like playing, like I like ultimate frisbee or like other basketball, football, and stuff. Getting up and down the field or court can be quite a chore the first few times, but then when you get in shape, it becomes fun. speckled and spotted sheep, lambs, and goats. Okay, I think from here I'll just go into the next slide. Yeah, I'm kind of and I might move some of the stuff around. Like I've got another passage that I want to put back here. Here are the Hebrew words that are used throughout these passages for speckled, what is it? Speckled, spotted, brown, and striped. And now some of these. Yeah, so I'm going to get rid of the ones that I couldn't find use elsewhere in the Bible. So Richie, how'd you come about my channel? Just curious. If you're still there. Okay, yeah, so I think I can get rid of this one here. Yeah, because Tala is in Joshua 9, Ezekiel 16. And Akkad. Now this one, yeah, it's also meant to bind, and I don't think that's really important. It could, like, for what I'm going to be talking about, it could be pretty important later on, but I'm just deleting these from here because I got them saved in the full version elsewhere. Then I think there's, yeah, broad. And broad I don't actually use anywhere else. Oh, let's see. Followed you from you mentioning in chats about your channel. I've listened to a couple of streams while doing household chores. Excellent. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, it's tough to. I look at some of the other channels and how many subscribers and stuff they have in traffic. It'd be nice to get up to that, but I figure that's how, just like trying to be more part of the communities and stuff. Of course, it helps if you already have if you're like already popular for something like EVS with and all the comics kit guys having been comic artists and whatnot. Yeah, whenever you want, just pop in and feel free to post a question or topic. And hopefully I can respond. I can chat about it. Jacob asked for speckled and spotted sheep, lambs, and goats. Those are used throughout these passages. As I put this commentary together, found these words were most often used solely in this account. One, let's see. One I've found used elsewhere is tala. Oh, and actually that reminds me, I wanted to look up the Greek Septuagint and see how they are translating them there. So let me pull this over here. So the Greek Septuagint is the Hebrew Bible translated into Greek. This is before the New Testament was written. Excuse me. And so let's take a look at like Genesis 30, 31. Laban said to him, "What shall I give thee?" And Jacob said to him, "Thou shalt not give me anything. If thou wilt do this thing for me, I will tend flocks and keep them. Let all thy sheep pass by today, and separate thence every gray sheep among the rams, and every one that is speckled and spotted among the goats. This shall be my reward." Yeah, so the Greek, at least how it's translated to English here, appears consistent. So. Let's see. The Strong's Concordance defines it simply as patch or spot. In Joshua 9, let's see, actually, comes up in Joshua chapter 9, and it came to pass all the kings. I think I can summarize this and take out this slide. From this side of the Jordan, the hills and in the lowland, and in all the coasts of the great sea toward Lebanon, the Hittite, the Amorite, the Canaanite heard about. They gathered together to fight with Joshua and Israel with one accord. I might want to keep this verse 3 in here. Let's see, how should I say this? Yeah, actually, most of my work on the commentary is working more on the presentation than not always, but yeah, I did most of the studying last week, and at this point now it's mostly presentation stuff. But yeah, I can always talk about something else if you'd like. Nine. When several groups gathered to fight against Joshua and Israel. Yeah, now I'll just delete the first two verses. The inhabitants of Gibeon heard of Joshua. And let's see, can I put this all together without it being too small? No, that's actually pretty good. And I can get rid of that. So now I got verse 4 all together again. The inhabitants of Gibeon heard what Joshua had done to Jericho and Ai. They worked craftily and went and pretended to be ambassadors. They took old sacks on their donkeys, old wineskins torn and mended, old and patched sandals on their feet. no garments on themselves, and all the bread of their provision was dry and moldy. I think I can even take out verse 6, just so it saves time. Here we see Kala used a way to make clothing look older than it actually was. So it appears to, I'll say it, so it appears to give the appearance, but I gotta think of a better way to word it than that. Gives the appearance. Something that's not in the best condition. Felt a sneeze coming on there. But it's not. It's also Tala also appears in Ezekiel 16. Down there. But you trusted in your own beauty, played the harlot because of your fame, and poured out your harlotry on everyone, asking by who would have it. You took some of your garments and adorned multicolored high places for yourself and played the harlot in them. Such things should not happen nor be. I've also taken your beautiful jewelry from my gold and my silver. I want to double check the pretty sure he's talking to Israel, but I gotta be careful, just like earlier on when I was wrong about who Samuel is, or about that chapter in Samuel I thought I was talking about Saul. It's Ezekiel 16:15. Jerusalem's harlotry. And then, I don't always trust these headings either, so that's why I'll look up and check the full context. Yeah, here, thus says Lord God to Jerusalem. I think it's safe to say. Ezekiel. God was rebuking Jerusalem through Ezekiel. Here, I think I'm going to step away again just real quick, then I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. Let's see, but when the inhabitants. Okay. He took some of your garments and adorned multicolored high places for herself. Back. Thanks, Richie. Thanks for your patience. Trying to think how to describe this. I don't think I need this next slide here, verses 17 through 19. Just it does give good context, but since I've got a time limit, I think I'll take that out. I can always put back in later on if I want. Trust in your own feet to play that. I should put the context in here. Also appears in Ezekiel 16 when God was rebuking Jerusalem. Through his, because of their idolatry. I could actually probably get rid of verse 15 here too. Here, Tolah is translated to multicolored. But notice it's referencing pagan high place. Probably have been old, and since it's pagan, I'll say undesirable. I want to think of a better word. Undesirable. That's why they were trying to adorning it and trying to make it look good. So we see these terms used. So see at least this term used for visible attribute that diminishes something's value. See. Okay. Let's continue the portion. I think I might split this up, but let's see. So my righteousness, Genesis 30:33. So my righteousness will answer for me in time to come. When the subject of my wages comes before you, everyone that is not speckled and spotted among the goats and brown among the lambs will be considered stolen if it is with me. It is not. Okay. And Laban said, oh, that it were according to your word. So I want to double check the Hebrew on Genesis 30 here. Because like the English, it makes like the English puts in the exclamation point. So it looks like Laban's excited about it. And even without, of course, like the original Hebrew wouldn't have had punctuation. But I think the way it's worded may be instead Laban, the hen. And I think that's like means behold. Yeah. Behold, lo, though hypothetical. Yeah, let me just look at that quick. Yeah, lo, behold. That it were according to your word. Yeah, so I'm going to say like the original Hebrew doesn't have exclamation points. But the way it's worded with the O or Heen, how's that pronounced? I think it's, they just translate, Heen. Let me put that in here so when I'm reading it, I'll pronounce it right. In the Hebrew, demonstrates that Laban was excited for this proposition. Why would that be? And actually now I'm going to move this before these parts. Let's see, how's the best? Yeah. And then, so why would that be? Okay, and then I'll go through this part. So Laban was excited because he wouldn't be giving up the higher valued animals of his flocks. I think I'm going to turn on the light real quick. There. Flocks. Now there's the later part I want to put here. Or yeah, I don't know if I want to put this No, actually, I'll put that right here, and I'll move this elsewhere. Here, it's these parts here. About Tamim, I'm going to move them up to right after that part. I'll move this one down. I'm going to move this sentence to after this part here. Let's see. And probably when I go back over again, as I develop it more, I'll add and take away stuff that helps it flow better. Might that be? Okay, here are the Hebrew words I use throughout. Just put this. Yeah, so we see at least this term used. See at least this term used for a visible attribute that diminishes something's value. We have reason to believe from the Torah that these blemishes are I have to pull off the source at some point, trying to think of other words to use. We have reason to believe from the Torah that these blemishes make the animals less desirable as well. Exodus 12:5, your lamb shall be without blemish. A male of the first year, you may take it from the sheep or from the goats. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, that was about the Passover lamb that they're going to sacrifice. But look up just to be sure. Yep, Passover. Sounds like there's a game going on or something nearby. The source is a writer's best friend. Absolutely. I wonder, imagine if it's not out yet, but I would think there would be some kind of AI program where you could like give it a document and then it would, and like just tell it to replace redundant words and it would spit out one with where it would do all the source work for you. That'd probably actually be pretty simple compared to what's already out there. I once took I thought it'd be fun, like the Torah portion where Moses came down from getting the Ten Commandments and all Israel created the golden calf and was worshiping it. To do a portion like where there'd be a rap from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme. Like, here's the Torah portion all about how Moses got upset about a gold cow. And that's like the furthest I got on it. But then I tried putting it into Chat GPT and just like do a rap song of Exodus. I forget the chapter. I want to say 20. And then and put to the Fresh Prince melody, and it spit out actually a pretty good one. Yeah, so if I'm ever in a crunch, I could just ask ChatGPT to create a Torah commentary for me. I forget. I wanted to. It didn't, of course, use the same verse I thought of, but I wanted to ask it if it could like change it, but I don't think I spent that much time on it. So we have reason to believe from the Torah that these blemishes make the animal less desirable. Let's look at God's command when He instituted the Passover. Exodus 12:5. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. You may take it from the sheep or from the goats. The bolded part here is tamim in the original Hebrew. Strong's finds it as complete or sound. Oh, actually, don't want to put that one here. Here. Is a qualifier used for all of, I think it's safe to say all. I often hesitate to do that in case there's like an example I might be missing, but I think it's okay to say it here. It's a qualifier used for all of the offerings God commanded in the Torah. He requested animals that were complete and without defect. No, I thought there was, I'm going to look that up again because I thought there was a passage where it said without like spot or wrinkle. Maybe it's another translation. I think that. Ephesians 5:27, that he might present her to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that should be holy without blemish. I'm actually going to include that here. 5:27. That might be a good way to end the commentary. Whoop. Ephesians 5. I'll get a little context. I can put it. Start verse 25. Husbands, love your wives just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her, that he might sanctify and cleanse her with the washing of water by the word, that he might present her to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that she should be holy and without blemish. Actually, I won't. I don't think I have to highlight those here. Let's see. So where did I leave off? Yeah, a lot of this will end up getting cut. And now I'm trying to think if there's a spot where, because all these, and I don't want to stretch what's not, I don't want to put in what's not there. Because like, and maybe I can say this, maybe I can say here. Because it like, does like tamim being complete, does that necessarily mean like perfectly white? But what if I just look up like white? How often does it show up? It shows up quite a bit. I'm trying to see some white in it. Oh, okay, it actually comes up on this one. So I'm looking for, because there's like a passage from like wash away your sins and like turn your scarlet into white, something like that. Let's see this. So here, Leviticus 13 is about leprosy. let's see, Numbers 12. Yep, still about leprosy. White owl. Let's see what. Oh, it's used a lot for leprosy. Oh, Esther. Mordecai's wearing white. Here, wash me and I shall be whiter than snow. Let me look that up in a Bible Hub and see it's the same in the Hebrew. Psalm 51, 7. Oh, and these is snow, so yeah. I want to see. Well, Laban means to make. It's albin. Albin is a form of Laban. That's interesting. I think I can put that in here too. So that's Psalm 51:7. The full chapter. I think I'll probably end up taking all of this out. Except I wanted to get this first verse in here. Have mercy upon me, O God, according to your loving kindness, according to the multitude of your tender mercies, blot out my transgressions. No. Yeah, so this all the context here for that. Oh, okay. Is that in a literal sense or how you view a person? That's so like the whiter than snow. That's actually a big part of what this commentary is going to be about. So I'm tying like the idea of like how Jacob. I'm sorry. How Jacob brings in all these streaked, spotted, speckled, whatever animals, which are deemed less desirable, but then he actually grows a huge flock with them and becomes wealthier than Laban, and it goes into like the idea of the church, like in 1 Samuel 16:6, actually 7. But the Lord said to Samuel, "Do not look at his appearance or at his physical stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord does not see as man sees, for man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." And so this is about how it's not a literal sense, but it's like at least not outward physical, but like spiritually, how Jesus cleansed us. Though, as far as yes, and actually we're going to put that in here too. Like I'm sorry for jumping around, but hopefully once I have it all together, that will make sense. Like I was just going over this tamim, like shall be without blemish, and how it was used for all the offerings. And this next part here, it's also used to describe those who walk blamelessly. So you can attribute like being without spot or streak as to being like walking blamelessly, like say perfect. Yet Jacob, he got all these like spotted, streaked, and speckled animals to build his, his fortune. And in the same way, Jesus gets all these spotted and speckled people, and maybe physical, or it may be spiritual. It's like none of us are actually like none of us are like, say, Noah or Abraham. And even they weren't perfect themselves, actually. Like, this is more of a comparative descriptor here, but like, and I've got I'm going to put this passage here, Luke 14, this parable, like it says expressly. Now, when one of those who sat at the table with him heard these things, he said to him, "Blessed is he who shall eat bread in the kingdom of God." Then he said to him, "A certain man gave a great supper and invited many, and sent his servant at supper time to say to those who were invited, 'Come, for all things are now ready.' But they all with one accord began to make excuses. The first said to him, 'I have bought a piece of ground, and I must go and see it. I ask you to have me excused.' And another said, 'I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I am going to test them. I ask you to have me excused.' Still another said, 'I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come.' So that servant came and reported these things to his master. Then the master of the house, being angry, said to his servant, 'Go out quickly into the streets and lanes of the city, and bring in here the poor, and the maimed, and the lame, and the blind.' And the servant said, 'Master, it is done as you commanded, and still there is room.' Then the master said to the servant, 'Go out into the highways and hedges, and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. For I say to you that none of those men who are invited shall taste my supper.'" Yeah, so we see like Jesus inviting, when it's talked about this one person brought the kingdom of God, and Jesus used this parable to say like all these, say, imperfect, like rejects, really, because all the first people like turn him away, just as like Jacob took in rejects, Jesus takes in rejects. And that reminds me of another verse I wanted to do. It's like where he confounds the wise with the foolish. God confounds the wise with foolish things. 1 Corinthians 1:27. Yeah, I've got so much material here, but yeah, that reminds me. There was a movie that recently came out, is about, like, I forget exactly what it's called. I'll have to look it up, and I wanted to reference it here. It's about someone. It's kind of like the originator of the Jesus People movement. Do you know what that movie is, Richie? Is that familiar? It's a really good one. If not, I will look up and share it soon. What was that again? 1:27. Let's see. For you see your calling, brethren, that not many wise according to the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble are called. This can go back to that first that parable we just read. But God has chosen the foolish things of the world to put to shame the wise. God has chosen the weak things of the world to put to shame the things which are mighty. And the base things of the world and the things which are despised God has chosen, and things which are not, to bring to nothing things that are, that no flesh should glory in his presence. Actually, I might have. Did I already include this one? I did. Okay, yep. So I already had that one planned. No, I'm not familiar, but it sounds interesting. Yeah, let me look that up real quick. Let's start Kelsey Grammer. Oh, there's actually a movie called Jesus People, the movie. That's not the one I'm thinking of. me see. Kelsey. I'll probably just look it up over here. Kelsey Grammer. So look at his filmography. Jesus Revolution. Yeah, that's it. Jesus Revolution is a 2023 American Christian drama film directed by John Irwin and Brent McCorkle, based on the autobiographical book of the same name, co-written by Greg Laurie. The film follows, there's a picture of Laurie, Joel Courtney, Christian hippie Lonnie Frisbee, Jonathan Rumi, and Pastor Chuck Smith, played by Kelsey Grammer. I don't want to spoil it for you. Okay, I'll take a look. Yeah, do highly recommend it. Is there a? Can I? Yeah. Actually, I'm sorry. Just 1 second, quick. Hey, Richie, I have to give up the computer. So we're going to have to cut the live stream here. I'll see how things work. I might try to hop back on later tonight. But thank you so much for stopping by. And don't be a stranger. If I don't see you, talk to you later. Have a good week. See you, everyone.